Hey guys, Deb Horn here at WeBuyHouses.com. How you doing out there? It's time for a Cash Offer Masterclass, episode 21. I hope you guys caught episode 20, kind of a special episode. We'll do a little bit more educational stuff around that. I think every 10th episode I'm going to do that, maybe a kind of a show a few slides and do more of an educational discussion. And so I've got several topics I'd love to talk to y'all about right now. But let's jump into another deal here and look at it. This is from Blue Bonnet Properties, the wholesaler, one of the couple of few that I use quite often. I love these guys. They do good work. If you have any interest in homes offered by Blue Bonnet, reach out to Taylor at 469-283-6950. I have no association with Blue Bonnet. I just use their content. I feel like I should shout them out. It's the least I could do, right? So let's jump into this one. 2248 Hilburn Drive, Dallas, Texas. Now, you guys know, particularly if you watched episode 20, where we talked a lot about calculating ARV, is that that's step one in our model, is to calculate the ARV of the property. And we're going to go look at several different sources in order to do that. And that's exactly what I've done as the pre-work for the show today, is put the address in, the square footage. I went to Zillow, Redfin, HAR, and Property Radar, and I grabbed on each of those sites what they had the property value at. I got the average 206,564, and that's what I'm going with to get there. That's $189 a square foot. You can just take the 206,564, divide it by the 1095, and you'll get that. Sometimes I kind of play around with I'll plug in 175. What does that get me? Oh, it gets me to 191. I must need 184. Oh, that's not quite high enough. Maybe I need 189, and so I'm doing that to kind of get to the point that the number in after repaired value is about what I'm seeing as my average of all the sources that I'm looking at. All right, so let's go look at this. They said ARV 245, purchase price 138. Seems like quite the discount. I can't wait to look at the pictures. I haven't looked at the pictures yet, guys. I never look at the pictures until I'm together with you, because I think we should do that part together. It's more fun, right? So we're going to look at the pictures here in just a minute. But what I'm seeing is this is just a little over 1,000 square feet, built in 1953. It's a 311, and they say it's in pretty good shape. If you look at that roof, 4 years, HVAC works great. Foundation slab. I wish they'd say foundation needs work, foundation, recently repaired, whatever. But they just say slab, which is a type, not a condition, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't care. So basically, right off the bat, step one, we've looked at Zillow, 167. Zillow's really trending lower these days lately, my friends. They're starting to really cut back on what they think home values are. If you look at price history, this house, they had it around 206, but they're now at 167. Something in their data has caused them to discount that property down to that level. Now, I did look. Realtor didn't have it. HAR had it. HAR is the Houston Association of Realtors. They share the 2024 market value per appraisal district. So it's not really HAR's number. It's the number per the appraisal district. And I'm noticing those, guess what? A little bit high. The people that do your taxes, they think your house is worth a lot more than the people at Zillow. So, yeah, you can read whatever you want into that. I went over to Redfin. Redfin's a good source, good in a lot of markets, has pretty good data. That is interesting. Oh, that's sold a long time ago. 204,832 on Reddit, and my Property Radar showed it at 220,095. So that was the process of calculating the ARV as I went to Zillow, Redfin. What I basically did, I went to Google, searched on the address, and other than Property Radar, these were the, Zillow, Redfin, and HAR came up. I went to see what they said, and then I used my proprietary you know what I mean. The thing I pay for, property radar. I think proprietary. I think that's the word I was looking for. Anyway, we've come up with that 206,564 average. And you guys, I feel pretty good about that average because I use several different sources to get to it. None of them rising to the level of the 245 that the wholesaler has claimed. Now, that you see it all the time. It's not like it's totally out of whack, but I mean, it's $39,000 out of whack. So that $39,000, I'm going to go ahead and guess that's probably your profit on this deal, right? We got to be careful what we pay because that's where you make your money. You make your money on the purchase. You make your money on the cash offer. You don't make your money really on the exit if your cash offer was wrong. In fact, you could be losing money on the exit. So, all right, we've got our ARV set at 206, and we're going to jump into the photos. Let's see what we got here. Do we have any movies? Sometimes these guys will throw a movie in there. I love that. By the way, wholesalers, movies, do that all day long. I love that. Let's start off. You know, I would almost, as a wholesaler, I would almost organize these in some sort of fashion. They're kind of just ranked by the image number, probably off the phone or the camera that took them. And this looks like it might have been the last picture they took, not the first picture. Let's test that theory. Let's go down to the smallest number. Not that much more beautiful, is it, guys? All right, so my theory is that there is no order to these things. That's okay. That's okay. There is a free truck in the backyard, fellas. You can just, they're going to leave that for you and just needs an oil change and maybe a tire. And so I think we're just looking at the back of the house. My immediate thoughts are the roof and the brick don't look bad, and that truck can be towed away, so I don't care about it. The fence looked a little ragged, man. Not sure what has happened there. That's okay, just a little chain link fence. And so there we are looking out into the backyard. It's got an elevated deck porch thing. It's not in good shape. This is not a keeper. I don't know. Could it be? No, I don't think so. Most of my contractor friends would say, heck no on that. That's gotta go. So let's, we'll start to get around to the front of the house. I'm noticing, I'm not seeing much cracks. I am seeing something that looks kind of like mildew or mold. You guys see that? It's kind of, I'm not sure that was the original color of the brick. And then if you look down here, normally this would be a lighter gray, this concrete, and it just looks like something's growing on there. Maybe you know better than I do. We have left the Christmas lights up. That's great because, within 2 months it's going to be Christmas. You just plug those things in. You are in business. The garage door has something that's happened here. This is easy to fix. These garage doors are very easy to paint. Interesting header panel over the garage door there. Looking just, again, I don't see cracks in the brick. The roof doesn't look horrible. There's a little bit of something going on here. Do you guys see that? That is very concerning. Probably going to have to be replaced. Those large boards up there. All right. Looking at this is what I would have led with, right? Look, investors. Okay, we're not like retail home buyers, but still sell to us, right? Like if you went in there and you just sequence the pictures in a sequence that would be more palatable for the viewer and just renumbered them. That could be one way you could go from the folder of file names to something that looks more like a presentation, of the property. Just an idea. You don't have to do it. Obviously, I don't really need it, but I kind of want to be sold a little bit as I'm looking at these things. And as we look at it, it's not bad. somebody's put a ramp, I think, over the stairs there that is going to come out. And I'm pretty sure there's stairs under there. That's okay. Windows, kind of hard. Oh, look, we got our first sign of crackage. Yep. That house, it's on the crack there, my friends. Look at that. Ooh, not too bad, though. Not too bad. It just came over there and down that corner. Looks like the windows may be old and, perhaps need some sealant around the windows. All in all, not a horrible house. Just a 311, just 1,000 square feet. Hello, sir. Letting us take a look in there. Appreciate you letting us drop by and look at that. This is obviously one of the bedrooms. Got 2 beds in there. Here's another one of the bedrooms with, looks like a single bed and such. Kind of dark. A lot of people, when we go into houses, a lot of people, they block the light. And it could be that they work at night, and they have to sleep during the day. But I see it all the time. People they're like vampires living in some of these houses. But I think this is bedroom number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right, friends? I think so. And it's got some stuff in it. As we go back, one of the things you guys know I'm always looking for, I'm looking for the walls, the ceilings, trying to get a sense of the textures that are in there, if we're going to have to redo any of that. It's kind of hard to tell. If the photos aren't great, you're not going to see a lot of detail. No big deal. All right. I think that was that 3rd bedroom we looked at. All right, we've got our first mechanical here. We're looking at the base, of the of the HVAC unit in the house. Sorry, I'm all choked up. Let's see. There is the full unit. Can't really tell how old it is, and just can't really tell the age of that, but it doesn't look bad. And what did they say? They said HVAC works great. All right, so that's good. Good to know. We're going to take their word on that. Go look at the one. This is a 311, so it's got 1 bathroom, and this is it. And that's interesting. Kind of color there. With gold. Ooh, that is fancy. Got some tile work on the walls. It's not horrible. Yeah. Show me that tub. Not horrible. Like, it's definitely a 1950. Like, look at that. 1953 this house was built. You think that's the original tub? I guarantee it, because you can't go to Lowe's today and buy a tub that looks like that. It's been many, many years. But honestly, this bathroom doesn't look horrible. Somebody came in here and did some more modern tile work in there, and it's just not that horrible. The countertop doesn't go, but that's no big deal. Yeah, and they went all the way to the sides there with the tile work. Looks fine. We're in the kitchen. I'm guessing, once again, we're seeing 1953 cabinets because there's no, it's just a piece of wood. You see what I mean? Like, there's no trim or moldings on it or anything. There's nothing. Just a piece of wood. But, honestly, for a rental, I'd probably consider keeping it. But for a flip, I would definitely come in there and reface all these cabinets. Maybe replace them. There's, sometimes you can reface them if you can get the new doors that fit correctly on the existing cabinetry. But if not, you tear this stuff out and you just bring some new stuff in. Looks like they've got, maybe a granite countertop in there. Honestly, this is like, I think you and I have been together long enough on here that we know that we see some pretty horrific houses. This isn't that bad. Not really that bad. Look at that. Isn't that funny? there is a dryer tucked up under something. Not sure exactly what's in that, but that's interesting. Interesting to see. Kitchen from a different angle. The house is very dirty. Obviously, it needs full cosmetic as far as, paint and all that business. Again, if this was a rental, I might be saving some of these floors. If it's a flip, I would probably be replacing many of the floors. But you really got to get in there and take a look at it, see what you can do with it. Just looking around, we've got a paneled wall here that's been painted over. You see that a lot in the older houses from the 50s and 60s here. And again, just, everything needs some TLC. I'm not talking about Cheerios. I'm talking about that edge right there. It's kind of dirty. There's the washing machine, and there's the dryer. So it doesn't have a laundry room in this 1,000 square foot house. They've kind of tucked things. That's in the kitchen. And that's, I think, a freezer in there. Yep. So, you do what you got to do to make these properties work for you. That is kind of cluttered having that stuff in the kitchen like that, though. Don't know that that's optimal. Ceilings, again, I don't see popcorn, and that's good, but I do see that it's not, it's not a perfect texture. You might need to do some work there. Probably need a repaint. The light reflection makes me think that ceiling is very glossy. People don't really want glossy, super glossy paints in their main living areas. And here we are in the dining room. A little bit cluttered, but I have a feeling this gentleman's been here for a long time. He's collected a lot of things, and he has a lot of memories, and good for him. Good for him. That ceiling, again, you see kind of a rough texture. This is going to need to be cleaned up. Maybe painted. You wouldn't even notice that stuff, but you kind of notice it right now, don't you? And then something happened over here. I don't know what, but we got two different surfaces between that area and that area. So, yeah, again, cosmetic. Look at that light fixture. Kind of cool. All right. Again, man, we got one window open, I think, which is nice. Small living area. You come in the house, you're right in that living area there, and then there's probably that main hall that goes to your 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. Easy peasy. I do think this carpet needs to go. And I can't see it, but I don't care because we don't want carpet. All right, 9:34. That was our last shot. Okay, let's go to the model, my friends. Let's go to the model. Now, what is it telling us right now? There's a problem in that the wholesaler says 245 on the ARV, and our model says 206. So this is a problem because right off the bat, we're starting kind of in the hole. If you looked at or watched episode 20, the one before this one, and I talked about calculating ARV, and you saw there that that house, I believe, did hit the ARV, the one in episode 20. And this one, we're not getting to it. And so the problem that you immediately have, if they say ARV is 245 and the ARV is actually 206, if we just apply the 0.7 discount factor that we talked about in episode 20, we're going to be at 144,869 with 0 repairs. And what do they want for the property? They want 138. That only leaves us about $6,000 for repairs. And so I guarantee you, if I go full cosmetic on this thing, which it was, and that's 11 grand. And then I'm going to assume, because it is an older home and we just saw a couple of things, we're going to assume it needs some repairs. If I put a full one, that's going to throw $6,000 on there. I didn't see it saying it need a lot of repairs. I'm going to put a 0.5. And basically what this is saying is that when I go into a house that's in just cosmetically rough condition. I need money for cosmetics and money for repairs in order to just bring it from current condition up cosmetically. I talk about these often as the big five: electrical, plumbing, HVAC, foundation, and roof. And right now, we don't have any indication from the wholesaler that there's any problem with the big five, which these guys and Fazio will often mention in that section right there. So right now, I'm going to be, I guess, I'll just believe what I'm being told, that no other repairs are needed. It's just cosmetic. I'm really going in there on $1,000 house with what, $13 per square foot to do some cosmetic work on it. That's not a lot. And so I think this is the minimal side of the rehab budget for the property. It could be more than this. And that is where some of the risk lies in real estate investing. Is if we miss something in our estimate and we make an offer on the property and they accept that offer and we do that deal, and then we get into that property and we find out that it's got a massive electrical issue or serious plumbing issues or, whatever, man, our numbers go south really, really fast. So, and I told you guys this in episode 20 that right now cash buyers are being very conservative. Because we know we're probably going to hold these properties longer than we would like, and we're probably going to sell them at a little less than we thought. And so we're starting to get very conservative as a result. And therefore, I'm not coming off my 70% discount factor, and I'm trying to be realistic on my repairs. Honestly, I could be a little low on this house, but if it's just paint and some flooring and a few minor repairs to maybe some plumbing in the bathrooms or an electrical outlet that doesn't work or things like that, that stuff is all easily fixed. But this is not much of a rehab budget, guys. $14K is nothing. You will spend that just like that. Houses suck up money like a sponge sucks up water. And so you got to be careful. We're at 130. I'm gonna just wrap it up, guys. This house was a $206,000 ARV all day long. It needs about 15 in repairs. I'm gonna offer about 130 is what I would offer for this house. They're at 138. We're not way far off. Now we would be if I was wrong about some of these things, but 8K difference. I often say it costs investors about $3,000 to $4,000 to go find a deal. It's marketing costs and getting leads, buying leads, and we work those leads. And then when you finally take your marketing costs and you divided it by the number of deals you actually did, that number is going to be around $3,000 or $4,000. So let's say that's what it cost Bluebonnet to get the property under contract. And, so honestly, I think this one's not a bad deal. I was a little concerned when we came in, the ARV was too high. Sometimes that is a red flag because it tells us, they're overestimating the value and they're underestimating the repairs and their purchase price is way out of whack. And it's really not. It's really not in today's market. Now, if you think Texas housing is going to drop 8 to 10% in the next year, as I do, you might come in here and act a little differently, right? But we're just thinking about buying, fixing, and flipping. And right now, I think 130 is the right price to pay for this property. Giving up the 8,000 would be pretty painful on your final result, but this may not be the end for this one. In other words, if they don't get a buyer at 138, we could see this thing closer to 130 in the next email they send out if it gets reduced. So again, I want to thank Bluebonnet Properties for being our victim today. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a very typical small 3-bedroom house here in Dallas, older. I think it did need pretty good cosmetic work, but it was a pretty decent house. So, and I appreciated the gentleman who allowed us to come into his home and see it today. So thank you guys. It was nice to spend some time with you. Hey, if you didn't see episode 20, go back and watch episode 20. because I'll really dig into that ARV calculation. And I think that this episode was a very good demonstration of what I talked about in episode 20. So I enjoyed my time with you today. I look forward to tomorrow and the next house. I've got 2 or 3 that I'm looking at. I'm just dying to tell you about them. So I love doing this. I love looking at the pictures together with you, and I love calculating the numbers. We're trying to figure out how to buy real estate at a profit. That's what we're here on the Cash Offer Masterclass about. Go to cashoffermasterclass.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can just search Cash Offer Masterclass on YouTube and you'll find it. It was great to spend some time with you today. Look forward to tomorrow. Take care.